Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Chaitanya Caritāmrta overview class. Thank you for joining in. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha. Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, welcome everyone. We are discussing from Chaitanya Charitāmrta, Ādī-Līlā. We are on second chapter. So in the second chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is explaining the third verse of the first chapter. That is the Vastu Nirdesh, the objective of this book. The verse is Yad Advaitam Brahmopanishadi Tadapyasya Tanubha. So this is the verse which is being described in this second chapter of this Ādī-Līlā. And we discussed so far that Krishna, who is the source of Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan, he is the same Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different than Krishna, and that is what is being described here. So in this first chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he described that Supreme Absolute Truth has three features: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. And Krishna is Swayam Bhagwan. He is a Supreme Personality who is the source of Brahman and Paramatma. So in the last class, we discussed how Krishna, the Supreme Personality Bhagwan, is superior to Brahman and Paramatma. So Kaviraj Goswami quotes this verse from Bhagavatam, Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yadgyanavadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdyate. So in that he described how Krishna is a source of impersonal Brahman, he is a source of Paramatma, and he is Swayam Bhagwan. And he described the qualities of that Bhagwan as Narayan. So the four qualities described by Kaviraj Goswami. He says he resides in the transcendental world, that is described in 23rd and 24th verse. He resides in the transcendental world. He is full of six opulences, Shadaishwarya Purna. He is the husband of goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Kanta, and he is described in the Vedas, in the Upanishads, and there is no one who is equal to him. And then we were discussing how Krishna is superior to Narayan. So Narayan is a source of Brahman also, Paramatma also. And Krishna is superior to Narayan. So to establish this, Kaviraj Goswami quotes a verse from 10th canto where Brahmaji, he is glorifying Krishna after Brahma Vimohan Leela. And in that he described that Krishna is a Mool Narayan, and we saw three reasons how Krishna is a shelter, supreme cause and shelter of everyone. He is the Lord of Purushavtaras also, Adhisha, and he is Akhila Loka Sakshi. He is a witness of everyone's deeds. So this is what we discussed. So we'll continue from here, from 48th verse. In that, we discussed that Krishna, after hearing this, he asks that, okay, but Narayan is seated in everyone's heart. How are you telling that I am that Narayan and I'm your father? So in response to this, Brahmaji tells, actually Narayan is your Amsha only. So Narayan, Brahmaji says, yes, that's true. That Supreme Lord Narayan is lying in the waters of Garbhodak ocean, and he is the source of all living beings. But let me tell you, my Lord, you are the source of Narayan. Narayan is your plenary portion. He's your Amsha. And even the three Purushavataras, Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnu, and Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, they are working in cooperation with the material energy, and they create this entire material universe. So because they are creating this material universe, they are in touch with Maya. Although they are in touch with Maya, they are not affected by Maya. So very clearly, Kaviraj Goswami describes that Supreme Lord, although he is creating this entire material manifestation, Bhagavatam describes in great detail that from the pores of the body of Mahavishnu, Dravya comes out. And on that Dravya, which is Prakriti basically, Mahavishnu glances. So the glance of Mahavishnu impregnates that Prakriti with three things: with jivas, with guna, and swabhava, and karma. Sorry, four things. And then the time factor starts working on it. So that it transforms into pradhana, then it becomes mahattattva. So basically, it is all technical detail where we can understand that although the three Purushavataras, Karanodakshaya Vishnu is directly associating with material nature, but Kaviraj Goswami says that he is not affected by material nature. So Karanodakshaya Vishnu, some more technical details. Karanodakshaya Vishnu is the super soul of entire cosmic manifestation. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is a super soul of one universe, and Shirodakshaya Vishnu is a super soul in each and every one's heart. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hridadeshe Arjuna Tishtati. Who is that? Who is that Ishvara who is residing in everyone's heart? That is Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So Kaviraj Goswami says, Supreme Lord Krishna is beyond material creation. He is not at all in touch with material creation. Eisabar darshanete ache maya gandh turiya krishnera nahi smayar sambandh. So Kaviraj Goswami says that Shirodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Karanodakshaya Vishnu, they are actually associating with material energy, but Krishna is not at all associating with material energy. He is situated in another dimension which is called Turiya. Turiya is the fourth dimension. So Krishna is beyond material manifestation. And Srila Prabhupada, he describes in detail about this Virata, this Hiranyagarbha, this Karana. And then after telling this, somebody may ask, oh, that means the Purushavataras, they are affected by modes of nature because they are associating with material nature? He says no. Although Purushavataras are associating with material nature, they are not affected by Maya. They are beyond Maya. They are beyond illusion. Nobody should ever think that Supreme Lord is touched by Maya. And then he quotes a very famous verse from the first canto. Etadishanamishasya prakritisthopi tadgunaih na yujyate sadatmasthair yatha buddhi tadashrayah. So he says, this is the opulence of the Lord. We cannot do so. If we try to associate with material energy, with this world, we get affected by the world. That's why Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, never ever try to explore material energy. Be like a tortoise. Tortoise never explores what is happening around him. When he sees some danger, he brings all the limbs inside its shell. Kurmo anganiva sarvashaha. So because we are still Maya, we are still under the modes of material nature, we are controlled by material nature, we should never ever try to even to test, okay, have I transcended the modes? Oh, I am not feeling lusty, angry, greedy since so many weeks. That means I think I have transcended the modes. Chaitanya Prabhu says, if somebody thinks that, okay, I think I have transcended the modes, the senses and the conditioning of the senses, they are like tiger. If the tiger is sleeping peacefully, one should not go and test whether the tiger is dead or sleeping. So we should never ever try to test, okay, have I transcended the modes? Let me go and test how much sense gratification I can tolerate without getting disturbed. That is what our position is. But Supreme Lord, he is never ever affected by material nature. Etadishanami sasya ishasya prakritisthopi. Even though Supreme Lord is associating with material energy, na yujyate sadatmasthai, still he is not affected by it. Similarly, just like Supreme Lord is not affected by material energy, the devotees, pure devotees of the Lord are also not affected by material energy. And we can see the prime example of Haridas Thakur. Material energy personified came to test him. And she came with all her beauty and glory. And she proposed, she's telling to Haridas Thakur that, oh Haridas, you are saintly people. Dine doya karo ei sadhu swabhav hai. Oh, I have come to take your shelter. Please accept me. Eta boli nana bhav karo e prakash, yaha darshanera munir hoi dhairyanash. And in this way, she started showing all her glory, all her feminine beauty. Nirvikar Haridas Gambhir Ashay, Tahare Bulila Kichu Hoya Sadai. Haridas Thakur, he was completely undisturbed, nirvikar, no agitation in the mind. How could he do that? Krishna Nama Vishtamana Sada Haridas, Aranye Rodita Hoila Stri Bhava Prakash. Because he was completely absorbed in holy names. He was tasting the nectar of Harikatha, Harinam. So therefore, all the material glory was not disturbing him. Why we get disturbed? Because we still get attracted by the material glories. All the glamour of the world still attracts our heart because we still have anarthas. But pure devotees of the Lord, they have no attraction. Na yujyate sadatmasthair yatha buddhi tadashraya. So therefore, Kaviraj Goswami is quoting this verse and he tells, actually, Narayan is your Vilas expansion. So Vilas expansion means same power, but different features. That is Vilas. So therefore he says that you are the source of Narayan. You are the source of Purushavataras. So therefore, you are the primeval Narayan. You are Mool Narayan. So just to give a background what we are discussing. Kaviraj Goswami is describing how Krishna is a source of Narayan by quoting a conversation between Brahmaji and Krishna after Brahma Vimohan Leela. So therefore in the 56th verse he says, you are that supreme Narayan. You are the source of Narayan, you are the source of Purushavatas, therefore you are Mool Narayan. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he describes that Krishna has 4 original manifestations, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. So the first Purusha avatar, some more technical details Prabhupada gives. First Purusha avatar, that is Mahavishnu, he is the expansion of Sankarshan. The second Purusha avatar, which is Garbho Dakshai Vishnu, he comes from Pradyumna. And the third Purusha avatar, that is Shirodakshai Vishnu, he comes from Aniruddha. All these are expansions and incarnations, the plenary portions of Krishna. But Krishna is the Mool Narayan. So therefore, after telling all this, Kaviraj Goswami is quoting Brahmaji. Brahmaji tells, therefore, according to the authority of Brahma, Krishna is the source of Narayan, and this has been conclusively proved. So that is what is described here, how Krishna is superior to Narayan. And then he gives a summary. He says, the truth which was indicated in the 30th verse, that is the same Bhagavatam verse, Narayana Stam Nahi Sarvadehinam, that is the 10:14:14. Kaviraj Goswami says this is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. 10:14:14, 10th canto, 14th chapter, 14th verse. This is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam, because this establishes Krishna's supremacy. Just like in the first canto, there is a verse which comes in the 3rd chapter. Ete cham shikala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. All the others are avatars of Krishna, but Krishna is the avatari. That 1:3:27 verse, Ete cham shikala pumsa, is the paribhasha sutra of entire Bhagavatam. Similarly, this 10:14:14, this is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. But Kaviraj Goswami says that not knowing this, foolish speculators, they speculate so many things. They tell, oh, Narayan is superior. You know why? Narayan has 4 hands. Krishna has only 2. So Narayan is original God. That's what people say. So Kaviraj Goswami is such an expert scholar. One time Srila Prabhupada was in a flight with one disciple, and Prabhupada told, okay, now we have 2 hours, so we'll do something. You become atheist and I will play the role of a devotee, and you tell all the arguments and I will defeat. So that devotee started giving all the arguments, how atheistic scientists and other people, they disprove, they tell there is no God, and Prabhupada defeated everything, all the arguments. And then after some time, Prabhupada said, now you become devotee, I'll become atheist. So this devotee thought, oh, I know all the arguments now. But to his surprise, Prabhupada defeated him still as an atheist. So one should know his own philosophy and should know others' philosophy also. That is a perfect devotee. That's how we will be able to defend our philosophy, when we know what others are speaking. So Kaviraj Goswami wants every devotee who is practicing Krishna consciousness to be aware of what is being told in other sects, other people, what they are telling. So he's telling one such thing here. Narayan has 4 hands. Krishna has only 2. Krishna looks like a human. So he is the avatar. In this way, they tell something. But this is very easily refuted by Bhagavatam. Vadanti tat vidas tattvam yadjnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. So Kaviraj Goswami tells that this one verse refutes all these arguments. How? So he is explaining now. He says that Krishna is that supreme absolute truth who is manifesting in three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And this verse very clearly tells this. And then he tells, now you are speechless. Now you cannot speak anything. I will give you another example. I will give you another verse from Bhagavatam. So this is the verse now which we were discussing. Ete cham shkala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Ridayanti Yuge Yuge. So this verse very, very clearly establishes the supremacy of Krishna. How Krishna is the source of all the avatars. Ete means, so this verse comes in the third chapter of the first canto. This is 27th verse. And before that, there is a list of incarnations which is given. So in this verse now, Suta Goswami tells that all these are either Amsha or Kala. And we have discussed what is Amsha, what is Kala. So Amsha means plenary portion, Kala means portion of the plenary portion. So all these other avatars, they are either portions or portions of plenary portions of Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. But Krishna is that supreme personality. There is no doubt about it. And Jiva Goswami gives an elaborate commentary on this verse in Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam very clearly describes that Krishna is the source of all the other incarnations. So therefore, Suta Goswami, when he took the names of all the avatars, there is a list of incarnations. 22 incarnations are given. In that list, Krishna is also there. So somebody may think, oh, Krishna is also mentioned in the avatar list. That means he is one of the avatars. So Suta Goswami, he was very much aware that people may tell, oh, Krishna is in the list of the incarnations. That means he is also an incarnation. No. Ete cha amsha kala. All these others, they are either amsha or kala, but Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is that supreme personality. Now, Kaviraj Goswami gives another opposition. Some opponents, they say, oh, this is your interpretation. You are interpreting like that. But Narayan is the original Supreme Lord. And Krishna is avatar of Narayan. Narayan incarnates as Krishna. So in response to that, now Kaviraj Goswami gives a rule of a sentence. Now this is another technical detail. So in English, there is something called subject and predicate. So the rule is a predicate should be stated before the object. So for example, if you have some person, just like Abhishek is a very learned man. So if you want to make this statement, first the word comes Abhishek, because he is known. Okay, I know this person, Abhishek. But another aspect is not known. Learned person is not known. So first, what is being told is Abhishek, because it is known. When we know somebody, we tell the name first, and then we tell the qualities of that person. Qualities are unknown, so therefore first, which is known is put. So the predicate means the first thing. Predicate is the second thing, and subject is the first thing. So first the subject comes and then the predicate comes. So similarly, And the example is given. This Vipra is a learned man. This Vipra means this Vipra is known. What is not known is he is a learned man. So same analysis, if you apply to this Ete Chamshakala verse, then we will understand that Ete means all these. What was described before, it is known now, right? All the 22 incarnations, they are known. Ete, what is not known is, they are Amsha and Kala. That is not known. So therefore it is told later. They are plenary portions of the plenary portion. They are portions of Purusha avatars. Ete cha amsha kalaha pumsa. Similarly, the second line is Krishna. Krishna is known. Everybody knows who is God, Krishna. But what is not known is Bhagavan Swayam. So therefore it comes later. So Kaviraj Goswami is going into detailed technical explanation. We may be thinking so much of the technical details. Kaviraj Goswami is writing at the age of 94 all this. And we have tough time understanding this even at the age of 30, 40. So Kaviraj Goswami tells, Ami Briddha Jaratur Likhite ka pae kar mane kichu smarane na hoye. Na dekhiye nayane na suniye shravane tabu likhiye bada vismay. So Kaviraj Goswami writes, Are, I am old man. My hands are trembling. I cannot see anything. I cannot hear anything. I cannot remember anything. But still I am writing. Tabu likhiye bada vismay. Just imagine at the age of 94, he is writing all this. And he is telling, Kuch yaad nahi. Are kuch yaad nahi hai to itna likh rahe hain. Such detailed philosophy. So all these efforts are being taken by Kaviraj Goswami so that our faith in the process becomes strong. That is the ultimate reason of all this complex philosophy. So that our faith in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu, Advaitacharya, all this Panchatattva, it becomes very, very strong. Who is he? We are not dealing with an ordinary person. He is the Supreme Personality, Krishna himself. And who is Krishna? He is the source of all the Purusha avatars, all the avatars. He is the source of Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Niruddha. So all these detailed philosophy is described so that our faith becomes very, very strong. So therefore he tells, Kaviraj Goswami tells, if Narayan would have been the source of incarnations, he would have been the source of Krishna, then his name would have come first. But it is not like that. So this is another consideration of Kaviraj Goswami. And then he tells, we should not take knowledge from anyone. This is very, very important. We should take knowledge only from a person who is free from 4 defects. And we know the 4 defects: imperfect senses, tendency to make mistakes, to get illusioned, and to cheat others. So we have heard this many times. These are the technical words which we may not be aware of. Brahma, Pramad, Karna Patav, and Vipralipsa. These are the 4 defects in any ordinary mortal human being. Brahm, tendency to make mistakes. Pramad, to get illusioned. Vipralipsa, cheating propensity. And Karna Patav. Karna Patav means imperfect senses. So because these 4 defects are there in every one of us, we cannot take knowledge from ordinary people of this world. Because it is just like if any of you have read or done some experiments in physics, there is a vernier caliper. You have to remove the error first. Then you can get the right answer. If there is a calibration error, however nicely you do the experiment, you will not come to the right conclusion. Similarly, however perfectly we work, however we may try, but because we have our inherent defects, we will never understand the subject matters of Supreme Lord. We will never understand even this material world because we have four defects. And that's why we see science keeps changing and they say we are evolving. That's what Srila Prabhupada was very much against with. And you tell, oh, scientists, they are always giving post-dated checks. We will find a way where we can become God. Yeah, it has never happened. It will never happen. You know, because we have four defects. And Prabhupada writes, but the scriptures, they are beyond the four defects. That's why they are called as apaurushaya. So this is very, very important. We should not take knowledge from anyone, which is so very prevalent in India. Everybody has something to talk about spirituality. Anybody is a teacher here because there is no authority. So therefore, Prabhupada writes that one should take lesson and knowledge only from authorities. And the scriptures, they are not written by any ordinary person. He is Supreme Lord himself. Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is a literary incarnation of Supreme Lord, and he has written all this because he could see the future. Bhautikanam cha bhavanam shakti rasam cha tatkritam ashraddadanan nishthatvan durmedhan rashitayusha durbhagam sha janan vikshya muni divyena chakshusha sarvavarnashramanam yad dadhyau hitav amogadrik. Vyasadeva, he could see that people of Kali Yuga, they would be less intelligent, very, very, unintelligent, lazy, unfortunate. So therefore, to show mercy to them, Vyasadeva, he wrote all the scriptures. Dadhyau hitam amogadrik. So therefore, Prabhupada in the purport, he describes in detail how one should get knowledge only from the authorities, not from anyone in this world. So then, Kaviraj Goswami says that you may say something contradictory and become angry. Sometimes people, when you must have met some people, they argue, and when they are defeated, they become angry and they start shouting and then they leave. So Kaviraj Goswami must have such experiences. So he's telling, you may say something contradictory and become angry and and you are shouting now, but however you may tell, the principle and the truth remains the same. Your explanation is wrong, and therefore nobody will accept your explanation. Only Supreme Lord Krishna is the Supreme Bhagavan. And then he quotes another verse from Brahma Samhita. Deeparshireva hi dashantaramabhyupetya deepayate vivridahetu samana dharma yastadrigeva hi cha vishnutaya vibhati govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Just like there is one original candle, and with that candle all the other candles are lit. Similar, so although all the candles are giving the same light, the intensity of the light is same, but still there is an original candle and all the other candles which came later. Krishna is that original candle from whom all the other incarnations are coming. He is the cause of all causes. He is the source of all incarnations. And then Kaviraj Goswami quotes another verse from Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, 9th chapter. This is a 10th chapter. Very, very important verse. This verse, these two verses describe the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam and establishes very, very clearly the purpose of the description. Atra sarga visargascha sthanam poshanam utayah manvantareshanu nirodho muktirashrayah. These are the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Atra, so in this Bhagavatam, so Shukdev Goswami is telling, Atra, in this Bhagavatam, what is described? Sarga. Sarga means the primary creation. how Mahavishnu creates this entire material manifestation. Visarga. Visarga means secondary creation by Brahmaji. Atra sarga visargasya, then sthanam. Sthanam means the place of residence, sthan. So where this manifestation is there, where is the place for all the living entities? How does it look like? Everything is described in the 5th canto. The geography, the cosmology of the universe. Sthanam, Poshanam, how Lord maintains and protects his devotees. It comes in the 6th canto by the example of Ajamil, Vritrasur, Then Utayaha. Utaya means the inclination, the positive inclination and negative or sinful inclinations. That is described in the 7th canto. Prahlad Maharaj is the epitome of positive inclinations, and Hiranyakashipu is the epitome of negative or sinful inclinations. Utayaha. Atra sarga visargasya sthanam poshanam utayaha. Manvantara. In one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manvantars. All the Manvantars are described in the 8th canto. Ishanukatha. The story of the various kings are described in the 9th canto. Nirodha. Nirodha means the annihilation of the universe. That is described in the 12th canto. Mukti. How one can get liberated, that is described in the 11th canto by Uddhava Gita, and Navayogendra's pastimes. And last is Ashraya, the ultimate shelter. Why all these things are described? Itna kyun? What is the need of all this description? Dashamasya vishuddhartham navanamiha lakshanam varnayanti mahatmana shrutena arthena chanjasa. Dasham is the 10th. The 10th topic of shelter, Ashraya. Vishuddhi Artham, to distinguish this 10th topic from all the other 9 topics. This Bhagavatam describes the pastimes of Krishna in great detail. Dasamasya vishuddhartham navanamiha lakshanam. So all the great authorities, Mahajans, they have described these 9 topics. Why? To tell that, this 10th topic, the 10th canto, Krishna is the source of all these other incarnations. Shrutena, Arthena, Chanjasa. All these authorities, they have either directly described this or indirectly described. Through prayers, through direct explanations, that Krishna is the supreme shelter. So Prabhupada writes, there are 2 things, Ashraya and Ashrita. Ashraya means the shelter, the object providing shelter. That is Ashraya. And Ashrit means one who takes shelter. Krishna is the Ashraya Tattva, and we are Ashrit. We are supposed to take shelter of Krishna. So all the other 9 topics, they are Ashrit on Krishna. Because ultimately, who are they? Either Vaman, Narsingha, Varaha, any avatar you take. They are from Krishna, so they are dependent on Krishna. They are Ashrita. So all the 9 topics, they are Ashrita. And 10th, Krishna is the Ashraya, supreme Ashraya Tattva is Krishna. Dasamasya vishuddhartham navanamiha lakshanam varnayanti mahatmana shrutena arthena chanjasa. So very clearly, Kaviraj Goswami is quoting so many verses to prove that Krishna is a shelter. He is the abode of everything. So in the 95th verse, it says, Dashame dashamam lakshyam ashrita ashraya vigraham Shri Krishnakhyam Param Dhama Jagadhama Namami Tat. Dashame. Dashami means in this 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Dashamam Lakshmyam. 10th canto reveals the Dasham topic, 10th topic, that is Krishna. So therefore it is said that there are two things which are very, very powerful to invoke love. Offenseless chanting of the names of Krishna and hearing 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. They are very, very powerful because that is the Ashraya Tattva, to depend on Krishna. So therefore all the endeavor to study Bhagavatam should bring us to this conclusion. Krishna is the Ashraya Tattva and we have to take shelter of Krishna. If that is not coming, that means there is some problem. And Prabhupada therefore very clearly again and again he would tell nobody should jump on the 10th canto, especially Ras-Līlā pastimes. One should go systematically from the first canto and gradually go all the way through 9 cantos and then come to 10th canto. Because to understand Ashraya Tattva, we have to understand who is this Ashraya Tattva. He is not an ordinary person who is dancing with girls. No, he is a source of Purushavatas. He is a source of Vamana, Narsingha, Varaha, Parashuram. He is a source of everything. Kurma, Matsya. Dashame Dashamam Lakshmyam Ashrit Ashraya Vigraham. He is the Ashraya Vigraha. He is a shelter of all the surrendered souls. Who is he? Shri Krishnakhyam. He is known as Krishna. He is Paramdhama, Jagadhama. He is the ultimate shelter of everyone. Namamitam. Therefore, I offer my obeisance unto him. So this is the 95th verse. Prabhupada writes that this is a quotation from Sridhar Swami, on this first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then in 96th verse, he tells that one who knows the real feature of Krishna and his 3 different energies, he cannot remain ignorant about him. After saying this, now Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he turns to the description of the various energies of Krishna. So he tells that Krishna, he has his Swarupa and he enjoys in 6 primary expansions. So there are 6 primary expansions of Krishna. The first 2 are Prabhav and Vaibhav. Some technical details. Prabhav means those who are fully potent manifestation. They are called Prabhava. And Vaibhav means those who are partially potent. So these are the first 2. Then second, Amsha and Shaktyavesha. So what is an Amsha avatar? Amsha means partial expansion and Shaktyavesha means the empowered incarnation. And the 2 ages, Balya and Kaishora, Balya and Pauganda. Balya means childhood and Pauganda means boyhood. So these are the 6 ways in which the Lord incarnates in this world. So Prabhupada, he gives a detail of which are Prabhav forms, which are Vaibhav forms, which are Amshas, which are Shaktyavesha avatars. So in that he tells that among Prabhava, there are 2 types, temporary and eternal. Even the Prabhava, the fully potent forms, they may be temporary or they may be eternal. Who are the temporary incarnations of Krishna? They do not exist in the spiritual world. That's why they are temporary. Not all incarnations of Krishna are eternal. Generally, we know that all the incarnations, they have their place in the spiritual world. They have their separate Vaikunthas. One time, one person asked that, Prabhuji, where is the planet of Mohini Murti? Because all the avatars have their place their Vaikuntha planet. So which is the planet of Mohini Murti? But Mohini Murti is not eternal incarnation. It is a temporary manifestation. Mohini, Hamsavatar, Shukla, they are all temporarily manifested incarnations. And there are some which are very famous and there are some which are not famous. Dhanvantari, it is also temporary. Rishabhadev, Vyasdev, Dattatreya, Kapiladev, they are temporary incarnations. And there are some Vaibhava Prakash. Vaibhava means the partial or Shaktyavesh or partially potent. They are Kurma, Matsya, Narayan, Varaha. The list is given. And then the Amsha, okay. And there are some Amshavatars and the Shaktyavesh avatar, and then there's two forms, Balya and Pauganda. Then after that, Krishna says, Kaviraj Goswami says, Krishna is neither neither Balya or Pauganda. In the spiritual world, Goloka, Krishna is not a child. Krishna is not a boy. Those forms are only seen in this material manifestation. That's it. That's why many of the great devotees, they like to see that form. Prabodhananda Saraswati says, I don't care. I am just concerned about seeing that form which is playing in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. Yasyalinde Param Brahma. I worship Nanda Maharaj because Nanda Maharaj is able to see all these wonderful childhood pastimes of Krishna. They are manifested only in this material world. Because Krishna in the spiritual world is Navakishore. Kishora Swarupa Krishna Swayam Avatari Krida Kore Eichaye Rupe Vishwabhari. So Krishna is Kishore. He is youthful. He is adolescent. He is neither a child, he is neither a boy, nor a boy. He is Kishore. And therefore, these 6 kinds of incarnations, they have unlimited varieties of these 6 kinds. So Prabhupada, he describes in detail about these in the purport, and then he says, Kaviraj Goswami says, there are 3 Shaktis of the Lord. There is Chit Shakti, Maya Shakti, and the Jiva Shakti. So Chit Shakti, Swarupa Shakti, Antaranganam, Tahara Vadhav Ananta Vaikuntha Dham. What is Chit Shakti? Chit Shakti is the Antaranga Shakti. The internal potency of the Lord is called as Chit Shakti. And what is the role of this Chit Shakti? Tahara Vaibhava Ananta Vaikunthadi Dham. This internal potency of the Lord manifests the entire Vaikuntha. All the spiritual world is manifested by this Chit Shakti. Then there is Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti Bahiranga Jagata Karan Tahara Vaibhava Ananta Brahmande Ragan. What is Maya Shakti? That is called as Bahiranga Shakti. What is the job of Bahiranga Shakti? All the Brahmanda, the material creation is created by Bahiranga Shakti. The spiritual world is created by Antaranga Shakti. Apart from that, there is a third potency which is called as Tatastha. Jiva Shakti Tatasthakhya Nahiyar Anta Mukhyati Na Shakti Tara Vibhed Ananta. So Jiva Shakti is Tatastha. Tatastha means just like a tat. What is the characteristic of tat? Tat means the shore of an ocean. The tat, shore of an ocean, is sometime in the water and sometime out of water. That's why it is called as tat. Tatastha. Tatastha means sometimes inside, sometimes outside. That is what our situation is. Sometimes we are in the internal potency. When we practice Krishna consciousness, when we chant, sometimes we are actually feeling liberated. And then sometimes so degraded. Sometimes we are like on the seventh cloud, feeling so very happy, so enthusiastic, and sometimes so many anarthas, so many sinful thoughts come. We think we are the lowest of the persons in the world. That is our position. Tatastha. Sometimes feel liberated, sometimes feel too degraded. They are unlimited. Unlimited living entities are there in this Tatastha. And Kaviraj Goswami says, these are just principal energies. There are unlimited energies of Krishna. And Krishna, his existence, all these energies, they are existing because of Krishna. They are all emanations of Krishna, and Krishna is that supreme personality of Godhead. Krishna is the Mool Ashray. So Krishna is the source of all the three incarnations, three Purusha avatars. Krishna is the source of all the other avatars. He is a Mool Ashray. He is the original Purusha. And therefore all the scriptures, they tell the same thing. And then Kaviraj Goswami quotes this verse from Brahma Samhita again. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So this is the verse he tells. And then in the 108th verse, he says, so he's telling to all the other, opponents. After describing all these things in detail, he's telling to them, all these arguments very well, but you are just creating illogical arguments. And you are just creating some logical arguments to agitate me. So of course it is natural that when a devotee is faced with some difficult differences of opinion, different philosophies, gets disturbed. Even Kaviraj Goswami is telling, you are telling all these logical arguments just to agitate. The conclusions. That's what happens in the outside world many times. When we go in the outside world, people may know that what we are doing is right. We are practicing bhakti, practicing spiritual life. This is best thing. But still they will agitate. Still they will tell so many things, and hearing all those opposing arguments, we may get agitated, we may get disturbed. But our job should be immerse our mind in hearing Harikatha. Siddhant Bolia Jeev Chitte Nakar Alas Iha Hoite Krishna Lagi Sudrida Manas. Nobody should be lazy in understanding the philosophy. Krishna Bhakti Siddhantagan Yate Prafulla Padmavan Tara Madhukar Yaswadan Premaras Kumudavane Prafullita Ratri Dine Tate Charao Mano Bringagan. So one should be eager to understand the philosophy. Krishna Bhakti Siddhanta, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. It is like a full-blown forest full of lotuses. A devotee should be like a honeybee, eager to gather the nectar of flower from each and every flower, understand the different aspects of philosophy. That's why Srila Prabhupada would tell, my disciples should read my purports from various points of view. See the purports from various angles. Try to derive more and more lessons from these purports. That is our job. And Prabhupada encouraged that whenever we read, we should not just read for the sake of completing the book, finishing. Try to read that purport from various angles. What other people tell, how to refute that, how to understand this purport. That is what Srila Prabhupada wanted. And that will make us very, very strongly rooted in Krishna consciousness. Even hurricanes may come, but we will not get disturbed. If our roots are very strong, then we will not get uprooted. Otherwise, some problem comes, some philosophical differences, and people leave bhakti because they never understood it. So we have to become like a bumblebee or honeybee, eager to get the nectar of Hari Katha and Hari Siddhanta. So in the end of this, Kaviraj Goswami describes that Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, is that same Lord Krishna. Krishna, who is being described so far. Why he is describing Krishna? Because ultimately Krishna is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is same as Krishna. He is the same absolute truth, Krishna. And he tells, people, sometimes they call Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Shirodakshay Vishnu. That does not add to the glory, because Shirodakshay Vishnu is a avatar of Krishna, avatar of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But it is not false also, because all possibilities, they abide in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So therefore, one should be very, very eager to understand the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, philosophy of Krishna Leela. Siddhanta boliya jiva chitte na karo alas, iha hoite Krishna lagi sudrida manas. Very, very famous verse is coming. Siddhanta boliya jiva chitte na karo alas. One should not be lazy in understanding the philosophy. Iha hoite Krishna lagi sudrida manas. If we understand the philosophy, then our mind will become very strongly rooted. And before that, in 116th verse, Kaviraj Goswami offers his obeisances. Sab shrota gone kori charana bandhan, ei sab siddhanta shun kori ekaman. So in these two lines, just see the amazing combination of Kaviraj Goswami. He is offering obeisances and then giving instructions. Sab shrota goner kori charana bandhan. Very humbly, he is begging at the lotus feet of all the readers and listeners of Caitanya Caritāmrta. What? Hey, Sab Siddhanta Shun, please hear all these conclusions. Kari Ekman. With one pointed attention, you should hear this. That is how Acharya is, humbly presenting the philosophy, but firmly. So Prabhupada writes in the purport of 117th verse that if because of laziness one does not come to know Krishna conclusively, then what will happen? He'll be misguided. Because there are so many other philosophies, so many deviations. If we are not very much alert, then it is very easy to get distracted. So one should follow in the footsteps of the liberated souls and make the life perfect. That's how we have to come to the level of at least a Madhyam Adhikari. Who is a Madhyam Adhikari? Shastra Yukti Nipun Drir Shraddhavan. That is the Uttam Adhikari. Uttam Adhikari say. So he's telling, actually one should come to the level of Uttama, but at least be there on Madhyama. Uttama is the best, but Madhyam is expected. Every practitioner should come to the level of Madhyam Adhikari. If we are not understanding the philosophy, we'll stay at Kanishtha. Kanishtha means very fragile faith, very shallow faith, no knowledge of the scriptures. He is practicing bhakti. Why? अच्छा लगता है, मन शांत होता है, मंदिर में जाने से सब मेरे दुख दूर हो जाते हैं. That's why many people they come. That is not a right level. We have to come to the second level, Madhyama, where we understand the philosophy. Whatever may happen, I will practice. Whether I like it or don't like it, I will never leave the process. If we just stay on the first level, we will not advance. We will become imitation devotees. We will become good weather devotees. Our hearts will never get transformed. Tadashmasaram hridayam vatedam yad grihyamane harinamadheyaha na vikrit jala yada vikaro netre jalam gatra ruheshu harshaha. Our heart will remain hard. Tadashmasaram, steel framed heart. If we don't understand the philosophy and if we commit offenses, then we'll never develop that taste. You know, the tears. Prabhupada writes in the purport that there are people who are imitation devotees. They make a show of devotion, sahajiyas. They cry and they have all that ashtavikar manifesting in their body. Prabhupada tells that these tears wash away all the conclusions of the scriptures. You know. So therefore, false devotees, they have very little knowledge and they can easily get distracted. So therefore, one should not remain there. One should try to come to the Madhyama and ultimately to Uttama by understanding the philosophy. Chaitanya Mahima Jane Yai Sab Siddhante Dridha Chitta Dridha Bhaiya Lage Mahima Jnane Ante. So only by knowing the glories of Chaitanya Mahima Jani. Only if you understand the philosophy, then you will understand the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And what will be the benefit of that? One will become attached to him. And in conclusion, Kaviraj Goswami tells, Chaitanya Prabhur Mahima Kahibar Tare Krishnera Mahima Tari Koriya Vistare. Therefore, just to enunciate the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I have described in detail the glories of Krishna. Because the whole chapter is about the glories of Krishna. Somebody will be thinking, hey, chapter ka naam to Lord Chaitanya is the supreme hai, but whole chapter is describing the glories of Krishna. Why? This is the reason. Chaitanya Prabhur Mahima Kohi Bharat Tare Krishnera Mahima Kohi Koriya Vistare. Because, already Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kaviraj Goswami has established that Krishna is Supreme Personality and he is not different than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore, the whole chapter describes the glories of Chaitanya Krishna. And Kaviraj Goswami ends this chapter by offering obeisances to Rupa Raghunath Das Goswami. Shri Rupa Raghunath Padeyaras Chaitanya Caritāmrta Krishna Das. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anybody has any questions? Okay, so we'll end here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.